what does it really mean? What does embrace mean to some of you? Embrace.
Accept something.
Accept.
Be okay with it.
We got a hand right there. She wanted to say something. You put your hand up.
Oh no, my hand was like.
All right.
Anybody else? Embrace. What does it mean to you? I'm gonna pick on somebody. Embrace means to you.
Hold somebody?
Embrace it like feel like.
Bring it in. You said bring it in.
Okay. Okay. So we have two definitions for embrace. Our first definition is hold closely in one's arms, especially as a sign of affection. And the second?
It's an act of accepting or supporting something willingly or enthusiastically.
Okay. And so next is truth. What does truth mean to you guys? Okay, explain.
Honestly.
Honestly, that's
Honest,
big.
that's
Yeah,
good.
that's
Truth, you guys over here? What does truth mean to you? Okay. We also have two definitions for truth. The first one is the quality or state of being true. Honesty, correctness, validity, authenticity. The second one.
That which is true or in accordance with reality.
And that brings us to our theme, embracing your truth.
When you put it all together, embracing your truth is knowing who you are and the knowledge of self-power.
And the second is, at the core of each and every one of us resides a truth that is specific to us as individuals. So that leads us to our first performer of the night. Would you like to tell us a little bit about him?
McQuell is an 80s baby who was born and raised in Kingston, Jamaica, and later migrated to the United States. He fell in love with poetry in all its forms in 2003. McQuell is a founding member of the I Am Poetry Group in Long Island's African American Museum, and was the host of Lowly's Vibes and Verses in Hampstead. He recently won first place at Theater 294's monthly Poetry Slam competition. He continues to spread the conscious and uplifting message through participating in open mic nights and spreading his work online.
So let's welcome Nakwa.
Thank you very much. First off, thank you for Dbrown for putting this together. I actually met him at a poetry slam and just started to network right away to try to make positive things happen. Because we know that can happen when we are on the same page and we're about positivity. So as they said, I'm from Jamaica, originally, Kingston, Jamaica. Grew up there, came here in the early 90s. Any West Indians in the house?
Yeah, jab potato.
What? All right, so anyone who has had to really like move from where you were planted and been uprooted, you know that sometimes could be a struggle. You know, you gotta learn new cultures and grow into the new environment. And I was no different. So I came here and I had to deal with a culture shock. You know, I didn't speak exactly the way that Americans spoke. So one thing that did not change was when I was young, I had a love for reading, for writing. I cared a lot about spelling. These were things that mattered to me, and I brought that with me when I came here. So English quickly became one of my favorite subjects. I didn't know anything about performing though. Nothing about standing in front of people and talking and not being scared, nervous, and that would come later on. So I kind of fell in love with poetry through rhythm and poetry. And what is rhythm and poetry? Anybody can tell me? Rhythm, it's an acronym. It's an acronym. R-A-P. Rap music. By definition, is a combination of rhythm and poetry. So that's how I was introduced into poetry and found a way into my writing by my stepbrother, who was producer. And that's how I started writing my first rhymes. And the first one went like this. I got the sauce for the source. Just listen and get caught. I'm enriched with the will to be taught. Give you a thought, ain't nothing bought. I'm a free man, come talk. I fly like the presence of God's in my hand. You could drop me near the stars. You could believe I'm a land. I stand. You can. It's within us all. It's a long time ago, so I forgot the rest of that poem. But that was the very first one. That was the very first one. And it kind of was like a glimpse into the window of what would happen later. It's just, I would be thinking about certain things. Drop me near the stars, you can believe I'm a land. What does that mean? That means that if you talk to me about astrology, if you talk to me about constellations, if you talk to me about dreams, your imagination, I'm with you. That's not far-fetched for me, right? So that's just one aspect of my growth and development. But as you go through school and you end up in college and you meet people, special people, pretty ladies, you start developing in different ways, and so does your art. When you start thinking about different things, the way you express yourself will change. And I was, again, no different. So one of my first poems that I wrote about a girl is what I'm going to share with you. So what was always a good thing for me is just not really running away from my emotions, not really running away from who I am, not running away from tears, not running away, but embracing my truths. Part of my truth is my skin color. Part of my truth is that I'm deeper than my skin color. And I incorporate my blackness, I incorporate my melanin magic, my history, my background, my heritage into what I write. So you might hear a little bit of that mixed in with this poetry about this person, who's the person I'm still with today. It's a blessing. So this poem was written about 10 years ago. It goes like this. It's called Friday Nights. Now, let me just hit y'all with Friday Nights. It goes like this. Sometimes I feel I cannot afford you. When the rest of the world dances under Paris lights, and the rich, they dine through New York's restless nights. But it's those humble Friday nights with a basket of fruits, some strawberry yogurt, and lightly salted Planters peanuts from Super Stop and Shop that tells me this love is true. But it's not that I am not saving for those flights across the Sierra Leone in hopes that those diamond thieves leave them alone. But my baby, my Murray, you're so priceless. My imagination sometimes runs away with me thinking that if I could literally give you anything that you want, it would make you love me even more. But I know that it won't. 'Cause you shouted from our pillows after the fruits and peanuts every Friday night, early Saturday morning, climbing your mountains with my lips while whispers drown in. I said, I'm climbing your... While whispers drown in the screams of my soul, thanking Sandra and Kenneth for creating you. And this poem is proof that I was listening, but the glistening of your image running through my mind when I can't reach out and touch your hands with mine is one that would make any human recognize you are better than silver and gold. And baby, it doesn't even matter what they say because I think so. Holding you in high regard because that is what our ancestors did. Structural testimonials they build on the sands of Kemet to display a love for Isis that no European can appreciate. So I take what they taught, I mix it with my heart, and I create a blend that, like stories of past kings and queens, will last till the end, more than a friend. When my mood swings from corruption in my occupation to homegrown frustrations, there, my voice broke like I'm 12 years old. There you are, all ears. It brings tears to my eyes. I've cried, thanking God, for you are a blessing. Matter of fact, a super blessing. And if cancers are to be possessive, then I have every reason to be myself, because we are written in the stars. You are my better half. Where would I be without you? Question mark. And any other cliche to simply say that you complete me unequivocally. There are only a few things that brings this man to his knees, and that is your smile, my nieces. So I hope that adding all the pieces teaches you that a weak-kneed man should not be taken for granted. And granted, you got these fools. They think money is the tool to make you swerve and crash our flight, cruising through clouds sublime. They will learn that there is no amount of money in the world that can buy our Friday nights. Thank you. I gotta say, I love the audience right now. I gotta say, y'all are giving a really, really good vibe. I'm looking into your eyes, and there's so much respect, and that's love. That's love and appreciation. You know, sometimes that's all it takes is an ounce of respect to make so much happen. And in my life, to continue this story about growth and evolution, in respecting myself and respecting who I am, respecting my identity, I learned to fall in love. I learned to understand what knowledge of self really means. Because it's easy to know yourself, but it doesn't mean that when you find out what you know that you're gonna love it. I came to grips with that. I learned to love and understand my blackness, something that I've been taught was a bad thing. And again, through that process, in that cloud of growth and thought, I started dealing with racism in my poetry. I started dealing with racism, and that was also the outgrowth of my connection with my partner, because she was on a certain wavelength. And it helped me to get there as well by being more conscious. Conscious only means, by definition, to be aware. So when somebody say they're conscious, it just means that you're aware of certain things. If somebody's more conscious, they're a little bit more aware of certain things, maybe a little bit more in depth. And in digging into that depth of consciousness, I found and incorporated the knowledge about my race, the knowledge about the social structure that is racism, a knowledge that is so vital and necessary. I found myself twisting it into my poetry to express some of my grief, some of my sadness, some of my frustrations. And I'm going to share a poem with you that speaks to that to some degree. I do want to say this really, really fast. Racism is something that we discuss a lot, or maybe not. But one thing I think is just important when you do discuss it is to have a definition of it. I think by having a definition, it brings clarity. Lack of a definition when discussing it, I think, can bring a lot of confusion. Just say that and talk about sacrifice. Sacrifice is loosening your liberal grips on white privilege so that justice can be served and reparations paid out. Some separation, no doubt, may follow, because when you let go opinions like weapons, you assault people. But it's telling the truth without omission, despite the outcry to lie, and taking the fallout on the chin, though it can be build or destroy. Sacrifice. It's like gripping that vice and turning your life around for the betterment of your infant. It can happen in a glimpse when you look beyond your interest and see your self-interest. It's Betty Dean Sanders and her doctorate degree. Not 1, 2, 3, but 6 mouths to feed. First-hand knowledge liberation ain't free for the black family, but perhaps if you tried political suicide, to be on the right side of the divide between justice for unjustified killings and the status quo we know so well. It's selling your stock in companies, still selling our communities to the highest bidder. Winners brand, body bag, and drag their prizes. We open up caskets and march in madness. Hell, sometimes regardless. Sacrifice is not enough. You've got to add up the day-to-day struggles against uneven odds and divide the cost to survive from ending up a figure in a pie chart, angel in the sky art, or some hood mural war artistry. Some are asking me, how can black people remain safe in the wake of a good racist? Sounds like a Dr. Francis Welsing moment, analyzing the psychosis. But it'll make your brain computer focus on how we sacrifice for the mission. We lose queens and kings to win position, but we still get pinned in alleys or killed in stairwells. So despite all that progressive groundswell, I don't feel a burn. There is no warm rhetoric against my black skin from a white kin missing in the family photo of my reality. Placating a collective with promises and investments that should magically trickle like flint taps to needy victims? Listen, sacrifice is forgetting the debt you unscrupulously collect. Send all accountable to prison and write the residents a check. When culpability is the coiled noose wrapped around that culprit's neck, they don't leave paid to reflect on intentional actions they regret. Better yet, sacrifice. Why do we sacrifice at the loss of life to gain rights they don't respect? Do I have an answer? Yes. Let's start with post-traumatic stress. The white deity in subconsciousness, calcifying your pineal and making a mess, replacing divinity with money, drugs, and senseless sex. Through the magic of Hollywood, in glory, we protect our own functional anxiety, worry, and stress. Like victims, symptoms, this is racism's depths. Perhaps sacrifice is simply them letting go of the God complex, so the God in us can erect a complex worthy of our ascension in this life and the next. But they'll concede nothing without demand. So don't hold your. Thank you for listening. Thank you guys so much. Your next poet is coming up.
Like you said, my name is Poetics. The topic for today is embracing your truth. And when I was presented with the topic, I had to figure out how I wanted to really express that, because everyone in here has a different truth. Am I right? How old are we in here? What's the age range? Sorry, I don't all got to tell me your age. 20? 16? 17? All right, so y'all about to take the next step into your life, right? A lot of y'all going to workforce, college, and other options and opportunities. But the one thing I wanted to talk to y'all about today was what defines your truth. Because we're influenced by a lot of different things nowadays. The media, entertainment, news, Kardashians, Kanye, all of the above. And those aren't really the right influences that should shape your decisions going forward, right? So there's two things I want y'all to focus on when y'all are discussing your future and your truth. And those two things are passion and purpose. Can anyone give me a definition for purpose? I know we did a little definition earlier. Does anyone have a definition for your purpose? Well, matter of fact, tell me what your purpose is. What do you feel like your purpose is? You about to raise your hand. I see it coming. No, that's a great answer. That's a great answer. You don't even got to go no further. I ain't mean to put you on the spot. But a lot of people, when they start talking about purpose, they draw a blank. You know what I mean? Because a lot of the world tells you to go out, get a job, go to school, have a family, settle down. That's it, retire, live off of that. But purpose is what you can contribute to the person next to you, to the community, to the society as a whole. So who in here believes that they can change someone else's life? Believe that you have the power to inspire somebody? No, seriously. If you feel like your job is to, if you want to just go work at, get a union job and work and have a family, that's fine. But who feels like they can inspire the person next to them? I saw a couple hands over here. How would you like to inspire somebody?
I mean, like, just based on, like, how you was raised, like, people, like, they take how you was raised and how you was brought up, and, like, they like, put that as in, like, their living, as,
I get what you're trying to say, like passing on your morals and your ethics to somebody else. Maybe that doesn't see the world that you see. Maybe not didn't come from the same background, but your understanding of life, you can inspire them. And what about you, brother?
Jack. Huh?
What about you? How do you feel like you can inspire somebody?
A lot of ways.
Oh, I feel it. I'm inspired already. Hold on. What's up?
Huh?
How can you
A
inspire
lot of
somebody?
ways. I don't even gotta talk. It's just a lot of ways.
You just in it. You went in the room. You inspire somebody, right? All right. So what's your passion?
My passion?
Yeah. What's your passion?
I like doing everything.
Yeah. Do you have any artists in here? Drawers? What about comedians? I know y'all over here got some jokes. I know y'all got jokes. I heard y'all earlier. Y'all got jokes.
Not even in here right now.
Nah. Well, the reason why I bring that up is because purpose ultimately ties into your passion. What you find yourself craving every single day, how you drive yourself every morning, leads to you finding your ultimate purpose. And what that purpose can do is inspire the next person, right? So we go through these things in our life that define who we are and define our purpose. And your ultimate purpose, I believe, spiritually, is to inspire the next person. So this poem I'm going to give to you right now is the defining of one's purpose. What happens to you during your life that defines who you are and what you're meant to do. So it goes like this. Why do we go through the dark? Why do we go through the dark? To see and achieve our greatest light. The greatest battle for mankind is to look in the mirror and redefine who we are and where we stand, surrounded by corrupted circumstance. The greatest victory is finding self in the midst of adversity. Why do we go through the dark? To see how strong we really are. Left vulnerable, marked by the scars of insecurity in the land of our captivity. We were blinded and frightened by the mystery of uncertainty. But we learned to trust the guidance from the Most High, and the strength we had in silence was the only incentive to lift our voices on high. There's something in that darkness that's waiting for us. The trait that makes us kings and queens. The same trait that mainstream invests so much time in destroying. Why do we go through the dark? It's because our resilience, our perseverance, which otherwise would be disguised as apathy and conformity. I said there's something in that dark that's waiting for us. Our uncompromising position of royalty, roaming free, strong in his and hers conviction. See, this journey through the dark is more than a marathon, it's an epic mission. The decision to keep going is completely up to you. But if you do choose to carry through, the dark will show you exactly how strong you really are. Now the reason why, the reason why I bring up the dark, I feel as though, and this might be a personal thing, but I believe that the good times in our lives are meant to be cherished. And the dark times in our lives are meant to be learned from. Everything that you're going to go through, y'all are all young adults, y'all going to into the next chapter of your life. But what happens next is just a manifestation of what you have become to this point. So a lot of the things that we go through, the struggles, the downs, the Friday nights where we can't go out, the time spent by ourselves, those define our character, which ultimately describes our purpose. And some of the things that we go through aren't meant to be looked down upon. We shouldn't hide from the struggles. We shouldn't hide from adversity. We should face them and let them build ourselves. Everything that we go through, it defines our truth. So this next one, earlier I talked about our purpose being aimed to inspire the next person, inspire the community. This one is about where we get our original inspiration from. You see, a man cannot truly be fearless without purpose, faith, and family. A father that won't meet you at the end, but will greet you on the other side. A brother that will match your footsteps stride for stride. A sister that will pull for you, even when you push away. One that wants you in all your infinite wisdom to humble yourself in the darkness so that lessons can manifest into blessings. And a mother who sees the same shadows you do. Sees the darkness you're trapped in, the sadness that can be crippling and addicting. A mother that knows that this darkness is a godsend because on the other side of trials and tribulations, out comes the man or woman. Why do we go through the dark? This is news from the dark. Broadcast live from inside the black. We are the light. If you weren't so valuable and didn't have the potential to be so powerful, this world would have swallowed you. But instead, that day you couldn't find a reason. You decided to get out of bed. And that lover you thought would never leave and up and left without a stutter step really took the shackles off your wings, and now it seems everywhere you go, you touch another soul. The glow of being a diamond in the rough, not just cut from a different cloth, but a divine one. See, the dark allows you to redefine yourself in the image of your greater self. The dark has no expiration date, no parental advisory sticker. It is the abyss, left to be mastered, molded, and manifested with. The greatest lesson I was ever blessed with is this: the darkness doesn't make you. It's made for you. A cocoon that grows tougher skin and sharpens the mind, breeds discipline, and cultivates passion, a vastness of truth and illusion that's only can be discerned by bearing the burden of going through this excursion, this expedition, this journey, this conquest to find your light. Why do we go through the dark? Because we walk by faith and not by sight. Thank you. One more thing before I get out of here. I want to talk to y'all about faith. Faith. Ultimately, after you have your passion, after you find your purpose, you will face obstacles in life. You will always face the resistance when you're fighting for something that you truly want. If you wanted to just go with the flow, if you want to just flow with the river, then that's for me, that's easy. Do what they tell you to do, follow the rules, and fit in. But who wants to fit in? Who wants to stand out? Who wants to be great? Nah, you don't want to be great?
I want to be different.
You want to be different.
Yeah.
Now, what is? I like that. If we could just touch on that for a second. You want to be different. Why do you want to be different?
Like, I don't want to be like everybody else. I want to, like you said, stand out.
Do you see something in yourself that separates you from everyone else?
Yeah.
That's your greatness. That's your greatness. What separates you from everyone else is your belief in you and your potential and the faith in what you bring to the world. Your purpose, your passion, it's all tied together. So when everyone else is looking at their purpose and their passion, I want you to believe in yourself and believe that you have the ability to be great. Great don't just come up by just waking up in the morning and going through life on autopilot. Greatness is knowing that you're different and expressing that difference in every single thing you do. So with faith comes this, the ultimate belief in you and your purpose. What's up, bro? You good? Well, that's my time. I just want everyone in here to believe in me.
First and foremost, guys, give a round of applause to Miss Jamie. I network with her at the Theater 294, where we do the only poetry slam venue in Long Island. All right, so we definitely want to thank you, Miss Jamie, for having us. And please give it up for the young ladies that did the introduction and narration. And last but not least, Melissa Lamb, the organizer, who's helping me. And I'm gonna make you exercise one more time, but definitely for these two guys. All right. So how information enters the brain, right? A lot of times we might hear a song and we might not get hip to the song the first time. You might the second time. Yo, that'd be knock. That'd be knock. So that's how information enters the brain. The first time it might register, second, third time, you know, that song, that Tory Lanez is bumping in the system, right? So embrace, we're talking about what it means to embrace your truth. And that happens when we embrace who we are. Everybody have different perspective, different livelihoods, and different upbringings. I'm from Trinidad. I was born and raised in Trinidad. Came here when I was 11. I remember when I was growing up, there's this one song that's stuck in my head and it goes, little black boy, go to school and learn. Little black boy, show some concern. Little black boy, education is the key to get you off the streets and off poverty. And even though that song stuck in my head, the meaning went from air to air and repeatedly from year to year. My brain cells was being killed by blunts and L's, a monotonous cycle. Passed on from generation to generation like sickle cell. Listen well, and well, you will understand what the freedom fighters fought for. Dr. King and the X-Men, two different goals, but the same, two different approach, but the same goal was their keeper. I refused to keep silence and witness this black on black violence. I remember when the song said, look in the banks. Look in the banks and see who are the bankers. Look in the courts and see who are the lawyers. Look in the jails and see who you see too. Another little black boy, just like you. Little black boy, don't let it be you. Yeah, so that was the first one, little black boy. And guys, I kid you not, you know, everybody, you got your own truths. Embrace it. You will go through things in this life. You know, I started writing poetry, and it all happened by like happenstance, you know. I asked a question. I was in high school, Brentwood High School. I didn't know what I want to do in my life, and I just put the question in the universe. What am I supposed to do with my life? Why am I here? And so one day I was taking after school studies, extra help with a class. And I'm doing my work, and the class next door, they came and they asked us if we wanted to do pictures for the poetry, for the yearbook. And it was a poetry class. And they asked me if I wanted to join the class, because nobody trying to write poetry in high school. Who was writing poetry? Like, any of y'all poets? Yeah? Nobody really on poetry. So they was like, you know what? The class had 3 people in it. They came, they wanted the picture to look like it was full. Create that facade, right. Make it look like it was full. And they asked me if I want to stay. So I joined the picture. I'm in the yearbook as a poet. That time I wasn't even a poet. Joined the picture, they asked me if I wanted to stay. And that's the beginning of my writing. And that's how I found my talent. And that happened after I put in the universe, what is my purpose? And then I found it. So you're gonna find your purpose. Just embrace who you are, be true to who you are. Situations in our life, it changed the course of our life and our trajectory. Trajectory is a big word. February 2016, my boy, he went to Jamaica and he never came back. You know, a lot of us, we deal with passings. I was living with him. Last summer was way different. We was barbecuing, we was living together. He went to Jamaica for his B-Day and never came back. So I wrote a piece and out to him. It's actually the next one. I can't hear it though. You hear it? You can't bring me to say, rest in peace. You can't bring me to say R.I.P. or rest in paradise or gone too soon or gone but never forgotten. My brain, it won't allow me to calculate or understand that reasoning. Grieving and then asking the meaning of this facadical space that we occupy. What the bleep do we know? Then I place my hand on my chest and feel the heartbeat. Whose is it? Does it even belong to me? Is the rightful owner the son of Mary? What if I told you I feel the son of Sonia? So many questions, but where's the answer? But the real question is, did he complete his life's purpose on the course of his journey? In real rap, you could believe that, because that's a fact. In a world full of sellouts for stardoms and loyalty extinct, he remained unbothered by the scent of hypocrisy in a way that it stinks. He taught us how to love and live and laugh. He taught us how to be happy. I mean, the man was never angry. He taught us how to believe in better tomorrows and brighter days by taking on every obstacle that came his way with a song and a smile. I remember when he would say to me, "Yo, Dylan, forward." And I would say, "Yeah, my brother, I'm coming." Carl Davis Jr., live long, live on. You know, so each and every one of yeah, and that's the most important thing, you know. Sorry for the accent coming out, but you know, the thing is, these situations that may happen, good or bad, just embrace it. It's gonna make you who you are. It's gonna make you stronger, and that's why we came here today. Everybody, truth vary. The message is, you know, embrace you, embrace who you are. All right. So the last piece, and then we're gonna go into the Q&A because time is running out on us, right? Moments, and I'm gonna get right into it. Can you raise that? Let me see. There are moments in life that define us. Most of us have experienced them. Moments that made a huge impact and created a shift in our thinking and being. This catalyst for positive change and evolution could be a painful and challenging experience. It's called a crucible experience. However, the difficult moments in our lives last as long as insight remain absent. And insight is simply the ability to change our filter and look at things differently. In moments of insight, there's a sudden burst of clarity where there had previously been static. There's an epiphany of movement. It's called the aha moment. You know that moment? I got it moment. Abraham Maslow reminds us that at any given moment, we have two options. Either step back into safety or step forward into growth. And when the dust settles, all that matters is, what do you stand for? What are you willing to fight for? Because anything worth having is worth fighting for. As for me, I have a son now. His name is Jeremiah. And Jeremiah is 9 years old. And I tell him all the time, him and my nephew, who I look at as my first child that never got a chance to enter life. I tell them, repeat after me, I say, body equal temple. And they say, body equal temple. I say one more time, body equal temple. And they say, Body equal temple. Because really and truly, when you look at it, the body is a temple of God. But we treat it like the synagogue of liberty, Jimmy. It's like we got loose screws in our heads. We must need a clinical visit. From all the chemicals and cholesterols our bodies intaking, which makes it easy for disease and bacteria to thrive in. I think I'm lying. Ask the FDA. I'm vexed today. People perishing, lacking the very thing that's vital. Knowledge of self is power. Our greatest fear is not that we are inadequate, but that we are powerful beyond measures. So I tell them, repeat after me. I say, body equal temple. And they say, body equal temple. Harriet Eisman, there's only one life to live. And whether you living for your kids or for yourself, make sure you're living with a purpose to fulfill your dreams or your goal or your vision. And remember that the body is a temple. Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. Thank you. One more round of applause for everybody that made this possible. At this point, we'll open the floor for a quick Q&A. Any questions you guys have, and feel free to ask any of the poets. We'll answer you guys. Please feel free to check us out on social media, right? Dbrown Poetry, Dbrown Poetry, everything. So videos on YouTube, Dbrown Poetry, Facebook, Dbrown Poetry. What else? Instagram. No, all of y'all got Instagram. So definitely, just like how it's spelled, one word, no spaces, Dbrown Poetry, changing the world with spoken word. Thank you guys once again so much. Any questions at all? Any questions? How do we write? How do we get inspired? Any questions? Y'all want to do it? How do we start?
How long have you been writing?
How long we've been writing? I think poetics, I think that question was for you. Yeah, that was definitely for you.
How long have I been writing? I've probably been writing for about, I don't understand that person.
Yeah, you could get it.
Well, yeah, I've been writing for about 5 years. The first time I ever started writing was after one of my close friends passed away. And you don't really know how to express it, you know what I mean? I don't know how other people express themselves when they're going through something, but, you know, it wasn't like I was gonna go cry on someone's shoulder, you know, I wasn't gonna run to anyone and woe is me, but writing really gave me an outlet for a lot of my feelings and emotions, and I fell in love with it. I fell in love with writing. I could draw anything, I could paint any picture I wanted to, and, you know, make it real with spoken word. And so after writing came the spoken word and reciting it. That's how long.
Nice. 5 years. Me, 10. Yeah, I've been writing 10 years, right? Not quite. Yes?
I would say about 13 years.
Whoa.
Yeah, I would say about 13 years. I had taken a good little break from the poetry and stopped writing completely so I could get a day job and pay the bills.
Yeah.
And then I started back. But during that time, you know, while I was away from writing, you're going through the world. Things are going on in your head. You're interpreting your life experiences, and my writing actually changed and developed. So when I went back to writing, I was almost like a slightly different writer, an evolved type of writer.
Nice. Give him a round of applause. Do you want to say something? Because I know your time. Okay. We're gonna start taking some pictures. Definitely, I want to drop these on the gram. If you guys have any more questions, I feel a question. There's a question lurking. Yeah.
On your website, are there links to your writing individually? Do you guys have where we can go and read some of your
Yeah,
poems?
'cause I liked your
or
last
your-
poem.
Oh yeah. Okay. I have a blog. However, the poets, they have their individual accounts, right? So
That's what we accept.
touch base, and we make the video because all of this is part of the video. But yeah, connected. Yes, sir.
So like those last songs where you have music that goes to the poetry, did you hear like the music first and it inspired you, or you wrote the poem and then you're like, oh, this goes well?
Well, how I get inspired, and to answer your question, I hear the music after, because these pieces were written before I heard the track. And so let me just finish answering this gentleman, sorry. But it's these music that inspires me. Like, for example, the night that the guy died, I forgot his name, Alton Sterling, he died. And that night, I just had a song on repeat. I didn't sleep. And I wrote the poem, Son of a Hero, which is actually on Dbrown Poetry YouTube. But music, it definitely influences me, inspires me as a writer. Yeah. Yeah.
What got you into writing?
Who?
What got you into writing?
Well, what got me into writing was I didn't know what I was doing with my life, and I was in high school, didn't know what I wanted to do, and I posed a question in the universe. God, I don't know what I'm here for. Please show me, give me an answer, give me a hint, and then the talent show was coming up. But the whole thing with the whole experience with the right, and then the talent show was coming up, and I had to do something for English with a poem, and I cut class one day. I won't advise you guys to cut. All right, don't do that. Don't follow me. Okay, awesome. So I had the Emily Dickinson piece. I think I had an Emily Dickinson and an Edgar Allan Poe, and I cut, and I was in the auditorium by myself. I'm on the stage, and I got the paper in my hand, and I just started reading, acting like I was performing. You know, trying to get the feel for it, left, and then the talent show was coming up, and so I said, you know what, let me write a little something. By this time, I'm writing after school now, because I'm in the after school stuff. Wrote a couple pieces that I kind of liked. It was short, but I tried out. So they said, okay, we like that. You could perform, just make it longer. Make it longer for the night of the show. And the night of the show, it was like it was like, what do you call it? Epiphany or a deja vu. Because the deja vu went back to when I cut. And I'm in the auditorium, and I'm like, envisioning a crowd going crazy, and I'm reading it. The night of the talent show, I was fresh. I had my throwback. Them times throwback was popping. I had a Shaquille O'Neal high school throwback. I remember, like, had some Air Force Ones, white on whites, right? So the limelight hit me, and I was shining. It was a yellow white throwback. Real talk, right? Yellow white throwback. Limelight hit me, and I'm just shining. And I did 3 pieces. I did 3 pieces that night, and that was it. It was history. From that night, I knew I wanted to be a poet. That was it. It was sold. I was sold out, completely sold. I felt like a star. Girls was coming up to me after. Yeah. But that's my beginning story. Yeah.
So what if you like to write, but you're like you have stage fright or something?
Stage fright?
Could you get someone to like read your poem?
You can be a
Or would you
ghostwriter.
prefer, like to get over it?
Okay, well, this is what you could do. You can open an Instagram that you absolutely devote to your writing, right? And because that's a beginning of sharing your work. It's different from performing, but you're sharing it to the public. And so you can open that. I've known people who came at me with the same thing. They started the Instagram and they start sharing their pieces on there, and that gives them some boost to want to perform, you know, and then they start getting comfortable with performing and stuff like that.
Don't be scared.
Yeah.
I've been writing for 20 years and I just recently started performing.
Yeah.
And just go to open mics. Go open mics, no judgment. Nobody's there to throw tomatoes at you. If anything, people do nothing but support you, and they show so much love that you kind of just forget that you're there. You know, and it actually feels good. Don't be scared.
So that's it. How long you been writing?
Oh no.
Okay. All right. Yutman, you have a question? Any other? Yes, sir.
I have something positive to say.
Just to say. Okay, just to lay out. State your name.
My name's Sinkat.
Sinkat?
Yeah, Sinkat.
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 All right, Sinkat.
I know everybody get that name wrong.
All right.
So,
Guys, we just want to give St. Kev some attention, please, if you don't mind.
like we all here for like for a reason, like it's either like we here for like to write or for dancing or anything that we're good at. Like this school, like it really gave us like a second chance to like live life, cause like where high school we went to, like it was hard for us to learn different things that they were teaching us, and we wasn't really getting it. So like they gave us a tool to really to build on, like as we grow and like we live life, we have to think that like it wasn't for like Dave or like George or even the teachers here that never like gave us that chance, like we're still being like stuck in different areas and stuff. So like I wanna like thank y'all for
Yeah, definitely. Give St. Kev. And honestly, St. Kev, what you're saying right now, it's the basis of all this while we're here. So much positivity in this room. And people might overlook that, but that's so huge because what's happening now is that the trajectory of your life is being changed. You know, sometimes you might hear parents say, "Oh, that kid is a knucklehead. He's hanging out with the wrong crowd. He's smoking. He's selling drugs. He's doing this. He's doing that." That kid who's doing all of that, they're on a trajectory to either death or jail. It's a trajectory. You can look at somebody and tell what trajectory they're on. And maybe some of you guys may have been on a trajectory you didn't want to be on. And what happened is the Harriet Eisman School gave you the opportunity to change that trajectory and actually become something in life. So give him a round of applause again. That was huge.